All right, so hello, museum families, and welcome to RBCM at Home Kids, a play date through screens across British Columbia and the world. The previous sessions are recorded, and you can find them on our Royal BC Museum YouTube page. So my name is Chris O'Connor, and I'm a learning program developer at the Royal BC Museum. The museum and my home is on the territory of the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, here in Victoria on Vancouver Island. So happy Canada Day, everyone. When we think about Canada Day, it's important to celebrate the beautiful diversity of people and the diversity of experiences of all people within Canada, while honoring the land and the deep history of the people on this land that extends much, much further back in time. So I wanted to show, actually, I'm going to show this right now. So I thought I had it up already, but I guess I did not. So this is an artwork that our colleague here at the Royal BC Museum, Luann Neal, made. And she writes, as Canada prepares to celebrate its special day, Indigenous peoples across the land celebrate having been here since time immemorial. And if you look really closely, you'll see that all the names are the names of the different nations. So incredible amount of diversity within nations across this land. So as we're celebrating Canada Day, just to remember that as well. So we'll come back to that screen in a second, but before doing that, for the last few years, we've had a Penny Carnival on the grounds of the Royal BC Museum on Canada Day. This has been so much fun, and so many families have come with their pennies, or if they didn't have any, we would give them out and play old-timey games for prizes. And we would dress up kind of old-timey too. And though this year we're not able to do that in person at the museum, though the museum is now open, we can't have on-site events right now. We wanted to at least virtually have a Penny Carnival through RBCM at Home Kids. So this is what we're going to do today. But as I do each week, I just wanted to revisit what we did last week. So I'm going to share that screen again. We'll come back to Luann's beautiful artwork. And so RBCM at Home Kids is the program. We do this every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And last week we met with Dr. Joel Gibson, is the curator of entomology. We were looking at insect camouflage, how insects camouflage themselves within the environment. So I got some really beautiful artwork. Joel was saying that he was imagining a butterfly camouflaging within the shirt. So Hartley, you'll see at the bottom, did that with his shirt. So that butterfly is actually camouflaged within his music shirt. So always, every week, you could share your art with us. Today, it might be sharing a photograph of you playing the games at home if you'd like. So my email address is coconnor@royalbcmuseum.bc.ca. You could share it through our social channels at Royal BC Museum or #RBCMKids. Keep exploring. We have our learning portal, which is a really fun place to explore with lots of different content for all ages. On the learning portal, you could Google learning portal Royal BC Museum, or that's the address there as well. And next week, we have Orca Storytime with Mark Laren Young. So like grab a cozy pillow and a comfortable place to sit, and we're gonna have story time next Wednesday. Okay, so I'm gonna come back and just pulling up. So on this, the way this works is that this is a webinar. So you can see us, but we can't see you. But we can hear from you if you use the Q&A box on Zoom or you use the comment section on Facebook Live. And so but we are going to be creating some things today, so you'll need some materials. So 3 clean jars, a glass bottle, 3 clothespins, cardboard, scissors, tape, buttons or beans, prizes, and a small rope or ribbon. That's a lot of things. Don't remember we're recording this, so you could always come back to it. And you can just enjoy right now and use what you have. Because we are recording it, if you need to take breaks or gather materials, you could do that and just play it again later. The most important thing is to be good to yourself and to others during this time. Do things at your own pace. So let's meet our special guest today. Our special guest is someone that I work with quite closely here at the Royal BC Museum, as we're both in the learning department. Kim Goff is a learning program developer, which is the best job I know from experience, because it's the same job I have. She gets to create fun programs, one of them having been creating Penny Carnival for us here. So she'll lead us through how we do that virtually this year. So welcome, Kim. So glad that you're here.
Great,
And I
thanks
should
for
note
asking me.
that Kim is the host of RBCM at Home, which is this version, but for adults and mostly like older youth, but kids also take part in RBCM at Home. So it's nice to finally have our programs meet each other.
Yeah, our worlds are colliding.
Yes.
It's nice. Because the best thing, one of the best things about my job at the museum is people I get to work with. So during the pandemic, when we've been at home, that's probably been the hardest part, is not being able to just go, hey, Chris, what do you think of this? And to collaborate that way. We can still do it with Zoom, but it's just not, it's not the same as being in the same room.
We did it last week for the first time, and it was like, wow, we're in the same room and actually working together. So it was nice to do that again.
Yes. And
all right,
Chris,
so what are we going to do today?
Ooh, before we say that, I'm going to say I see that Laurel Collins is in the chat room.
Oh, I do see, yeah. So I was looking for Laurel, and I see that Laurel's there now. So, I was going to say, I'll say my official introduction. So before we begin, we have a very special guest that's going to say hello, the Honorable Laurel Collins, Member of Parliament for Victoria. And we're so glad to have you. So I'm going to promote you to panelist, Laurel. So you should be coming in.
Special guest through Zoom.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on today. I am the Member of Parliament for Victoria, and it feels just so special to be here with you on Canada Day. And I love the introduction, holding both the celebration of our community and also acknowledging where Canada hasn't always done it right, and that this is an opportunity to really reflect on how we make our country a place where we can really be proud of. And I am very excited. I have all of my materials and jars, and I'm really excited to make some wonderful crafts with you folks today. And thanks for all the work you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for all the work that you're doing too. It's been a pleasure to have you both as a city councillor and now as an MP. So we're really happy to have you here. So I will put you back, Laurel, as a to attendee.
And maybe we'll see your games later.
Yeah, I would love to
see your hoop tossing skills.
Yeah.
So as Chris said, we started doing these games at the museum, I think maybe about 8 years ago, Chris, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And the idea was to do something outside for free for families who would be around downtown. And we also wanted to draw some attention to some of the other buildings on our site, because many people know the museum, but there's also Thunderbird Park with many beautiful poles in it. And then there's Helmkin House and St. Anne's Schoolhouse. So we were looking at Helmkin House and St. Anne's Schoolhouse and thinking, well, what would people living in Helmkin House maybe be doing for Canada Day, which was then Dominion Day, maybe 100 years ago? So had a look through some old magazines and some old books and catalogs, and also just, talking to people, came up with some ideas that are simple to play. So I think the basic idea for any game you can create, and these are just some ideas to start you off. You can make different things. Maybe this will spark an idea and you'll come up with your own version, and we'd love to hear about it if you do. So the first game I want to talk about is ring toss. So this is a game where you want to have your empty jars. I have 3 empty jars here, so just a clean empty jar. And then you need 3 hoops. I have these cross stitch or embroidery hoops, which are perfect, but not everybody may have those. So I'm going to also show you how to make a hoop in case you don't have one. So I'm going to just angle the camera down a little bit. Ooh, maybe too much. So I've got a piece of paper, some cardboard, and a pair of scissors. And I also have a marker. So I'm going to cut this paper, this cardboard, so that I can get a strip out of it. So we need 3 hoops because 3 turns is fun. I've decided for Penny Carnival, it's always 1 penny for 3 turns. So or you could use 1 token. If you didn't have pennies for people to use, you could maybe get buttons. So we give you 1 button and you're going to get 3 turns. So you can divide that paper into 3. If you've got a ruler or something to do it nice and even, you just want to draw some straight lines to make your hoop. So you've got your cardboard, and then you're going to cut out your first strip. If it's hard to cut, maybe you can ask a grown-up to help you with that. I found I used some lighter paper and it just doesn't fly very good. It doesn't make a good hoop. So you need something that's kind of stiff and strong. So you've got your piece of paper. You can kind of bend it, get it to make hoop shape. Most important thing, make sure it's big enough of a hoop that it fits over top of your jar. So if you're using a different kind of jar, you just want to make sure that it will fit the neck. So that's how big you need to make it. So you've cut out your cardboard. You're gonna, get some tape to tape it together. This is painter's tape. I always like this because it sticks really good, but you can get it off if you accidentally stick it on something you didn't want it to be stuck to. That can happen. Oh, super tidy. So you're getting that around there. Making a hoop. So now, and you know what, your hoops don't all have to be the same as long as they fit over that jar. So I've got 1, 2, 3 hoops. Now you want to put something in that jar to make it exciting so that if you get the hoop over top of the jar, you win what's inside. So again, this could be stuff you have in your house. I have a collection of pretty rocks. So I could put those in 1 hoop. So person could win some of my pretty stones. For some reason, I have a lot of tops, spinning tops. You can play with them. They're fun. So if you have a lot of those and you want to share, especially if it's just your family who's playing with you, you can put a top in one of those. So there's pretty stones, tops. If you want to make something, I just got a regular rock from outside. And then you could get some paint to decorate it to make it look kind of special. This one's also got a little glittery stone on it. And then you could put that in your other tube. So you've got 3 jars, each has a special little prize inside, and you've got 3 hoops. Okay, so now let's go to our game cam. So we'll get the game cam on. Chris will get us all set up. So you want to put your 3 jars on the floor. Make sure you've got some open space and enough room around them so that your hoop doesn't get hit or bumped by the other jars. Oh, you also should have a throwing line. So I have some ribbon here. I'm just going to put it on the floor. And that's where you have to stand. So you don't want to stand over top of that line. This makes it even for everybody. Now, if you have somebody little in your family or in your bubble that you're going to play with, you can move it closer for them. And if you've got somebody bigger, you can make it farther away. It's up to you. You get to decide. So you've got 3 hoops. You're going to get 3 chances. Now this is called hoop toss. So we're going to toss the hoop and see if we can land over top of one of those jars. Oh, it bounced off. Maybe if I was playing on the grass, it would have stayed. Okay, here comes my hoop. Oh, so I'm out of turns, and now if there's somebody else playing with me, it would be their turn. So I'd go pick up their hoops, I'd give them to them, and now they get a turn. So you just take turns playing, and as long as you can play as much as you want, or you can give each other tokens, and when you have one token, you get one toss. Okay, let's go back to the other camera now.
Kim, we want to see you do it again to see if you can get it over.
But you did see, oh, game cam back on. It bounced off. I don't know, it might just bounce off this floor. Oh, it landed and bounced off. I think, oh, I think this is where the grass outside is my friend.
Okay.
Nope, not yet. But you know, if it was too easy, I would make it look, you'd be frustrated if you couldn't do it, if you saw me get it all in one, right?
For
right?
sure.
Okay, back to the other camera.
Very good try, though.
Let's ring toss. Now, I suppose too, you could think of a variation of that. Maybe you have a small ball that you could toss instead of a ring, and you could try to get that ball to land inside of there. Or maybe you've got like a little bean bags or juggling balls, something that would throw inside but not knock it over. You'd have to test that out to make sure that you didn't break the jar or it just bounced right out and not work. So that's one game. Next game is one of my favorites. It is called the clothespin drop. So for this game, you need a clothespin or something that fits inside your glass bottle. And you need a bottle that has a pretty wide neck. I have this milk bottle. You could, maybe you don't have a milk bottle, you could play it again with a glass jar as long as your clothespin fits in the jar and it's big enough so it's not going to fall out. So you could just use those glass jars again. But I like a challenge. So I'm going to use
And again, Kim, if you don't have a glass jar, then, I mean, if you don't have a clothespin, you can. Right.
If you don't have a clothespin, you could use a Sharpie marker that would fit inside, a pencil. Today I've got these bag clips. They're used for closing a bag and they fit inside because my clothespin doesn't fit in. Chris has an old-fashioned wooden clothespin that would fit great, but I just had these regular kinds, these new kinds here. So this game is a game of skill. You're going to try to drop your clothespin into the bottle without it bouncing off the edge. And how many tries do you think you get? Three tries. Okay, 3 clothespins, 3 tries. Let's go to the game cam. So you put the jar on the ground. Now the secret to making this game tough is you hold your arm out straight and you're trying to drop it in. You can't line up and stand over top of it and drop it like this. You're going to do this. Now, if you've got a younger person in your family or your bubble that you're playing with, okay, you can let them try to drop it in like this. But if they're a little bit older or your age, you guys give it a try like this first. So you're lining up. Ready, game cam? Let's see if we do it. Just dropping. Oops, it's stuck to my finger. You're going to drop the pin. Oh, hit the edge. Oh, bounced right off. I'm going to try it with that pen. Let's see about the pen. Wow. I'm making it look so hard. So this is the other way, going over top. Still hard. So that's
maybe the game cam operator can try.
Yeah, the game cam operator thinks this is hilarious. So maybe
I bet.
Maybe she should try. Now, I forgot to put a prize inside. Part of the fun of this game is just winning because it is so hard. Just getting it in, you feel like a champion. But you could put a prize in here too. Again, you could put in one of those pretty pebbles so that if you drop it in. Or I was thinking, if you're playing with tokens, you could put your tokens inside. So if I was saying, if you want to play the game, you have to give me a button, and then I'll give you 3 tries. I could put 3 buttons in my bottle. So then if somebody won, they win 3 more tries at another game. So you can come up, you can be really creative with your
And Kim, I don't know if you mentioned this, but when we first started doing this, people were still using pennies.
Oh, that's
Then
right.
while we were doing it over the years, then pennies were no longer. So that was a kind of interesting thing that people didn't really actually have pennies. So sometimes we'd have to give them, or they were really happy to use the pennies that they can't use otherwise. So.
Yeah, some people have kept their pennies in a jar or a bag, and they bring them with them. But we have a whole bunch that we've kept from our past Penny Carnival. So as Chris said, we keep them there. And the pennies are just to help with making sure everybody gets a turn and nobody stays too long and takes 10 tries to get it into the bottle or get the ring over top. So that's why we have the turn.
Yeah, it's been nice that it's not about money or exchange of money at all. It's just about being together and playing and having fun together.
Yeah, and I love that too when we get families who've come back for many years and they say it's like so fun because they can play it, and because it's not about money. It doesn't cost anything to take part. But also, I really like that we have families who can teach each other. So I was worried the first year when we had all the same games. I thought, we played it last year, but people wanted to play the same games again. They wanted to try the ring toss again, or the bean bag toss, or the penny, where you have one where you put a teacup in water and then you try to drop your penny through the water and have it land in a teacup. So they wanted to play the same games again. And I also really liked it when parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles could teach the younger kids how to play, because it was something that they knew.
I remember us sort of adding games too. So there was, I think a couple years ago, adding the donuts on the string. So like there are the same games, which is really nice for that tradition, but also some new ones to sort of.
Yeah. I have a new game to show you. I'm going to share a video of it because I wasn't sure about the noise or the weather, so we made a little recording of how it works. But first, I'll explain this game. So you could find out about games that people used to play in your area by talking to some elders, some older people in your family even, and ask them what they might have played when they were little kids, and you could come up with a game that way. I found out about this game talking to a friend of mine who's a little bit older. She's not that much older than me, but she grew up in a different country. She grew up in Wales. And in Wales, she said the best game they would always play at the big gatherings was wet welly toss. So what do you think a wet welly is? Chris, what could it be?
Like maybe something that you would have by the ocean. Oh, Tanis says a boot.
Tanis helped you out. Tanis is right. A welly is another name
Tanis
for
always has my back.
A welly is another name for a rubber boot. And how do we get it wet? Do you think we're throwing it into the water? Might we be...
Are we wearing it and we're going in the water?
Ooh, I like this idea. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'll give you... And we'll share the sound. I hope you hear it all. Here we go. Do you see that, Chris? It says wet welly toss.
Yep.
Okay. For the wet welly toss, you need a rubber boot. Make sure it's empty.
For this game, you need a boot.
No one's wearing it. You need
water.
You
need a hose with the water in it.
Boot.
Make sure it's an old boot and nobody's wearing it.
Fill the boot up with water. Now, if the players are big and strong, you can fill the boot right up to the top.
You want to fill
if they're little, maybe just
all
fill
the
it
way
halfway.
to the top. And if they're little, just fill it
now,
halfway.
when you throw a wet welly, you have to use
a
windmill motion.
Kim, can you press? Can you just go back a second, because we can hear the video. So.
Oh, you can. I can. So I was confused. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
This is what you need for the wet welly toss. You need a rubber boot. Make sure it's empty and old and no one's wearing it. You need water. Get permission. Boot, water. Fill the boot up with water. Now, if the players are big and strong, you can fill the boot right up to the top. If they're little, maybe just fill it halfway. Now, when you throw a wet welly, you have to use a windmill motion and then toss. This is what you need.
So that's how it works. You want to fill it up with water. Now, the more water you put in, the heavier it is, so it's harder. And guess what? When you throw it in a windmill, If you do it too slow, you're going to get yourself very wet. So you got to do that pretty fast. If you let go of it in a funny place, it might go straight up and shower down on top of you. So it can be pretty fun, but you could get wet, and you could accidentally hit something or somebody. So make sure you've got a big empty space to do it in, or some lawn. And again, get permission. Make sure it's okay.
I was thinking of a question, and Tanis just wrote that as well. So what is the goal, to have the boot like upright at the end?
The goal is to throw the boot the farthest. So
the farthest.
You could maybe mark on the sidewalk with some chalk, or if it was on the grass, or if it was on the grass, maybe you could put a marker to show how far your toss went. So you want to throw it the farthest, and you don't want to get wet.
Unless you do want to get wet.
And sometimes you do. Yeah, balloon toss is another fun game you could play. Try that too. Great. Well, I see there's something in the Q&A.
Oh yeah, that's just Laurel saying she just had to
nice.
leave, but she was really thankful to be here. So yeah, so those are three. Without showing them, can you describe what are some of the other games that would happen during regular Penny Carnival?
Oh, well, tug of war is a good one as well. So you just need a big rope, something that's not going to hurt your hands, and you can even just have one person on each side, and you're trying to pull the other person over a marker in the center. I like a game called croquet. So that's got hoops and a ball and a mallet, and you use the mallet to hit the balls through the hoop. So you can set up a little obstacle course and see if people can get the ball through all 3 hoops, which is 3 shots. That's one version that we've played. Beanbag toss, we have a target with a hole, and you try to get your beanbag to land in the hole. So that one's always fun too. Do you have a favorite game from Penny Carnival, Chris?
The fishing one. Did you mention the fishing one?
Oh no, yeah, the fishing hole. That
Yeah.
was a bit tricky to set up sometimes. So you need to find a place where you can put up like a sheet or a blanket so somebody can hide behind it. And behind there, they might have a jar full of prizes. And on the other side, you give the participants something like a fishing rod. And we tie a clothespin on the end. And so they toss their line over behind the blanket. And the person who's hiding back there would take their clothespin, take the prize, hook it on, and then tug the line, and the person pulls it over, and it's like they've caught a little prize.
Yeah.
That one's fun with little kids especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have volunteers be part of this. So we'd have a volunteer or a staff member behind there. And I remember they had a lot of fun, but if it was a little too long being down there, it was
yes, and it can get hot. Yeah.
One of the things also that we would do during Penny Carnival, and which hopefully we'll do next year, is have Helmkin House open, which is right beside the lawn, and have someone playing the piano inside Helmkin House. So, though we couldn't meet in person today to do Penny Carnival, I'm really glad that we could at least do it virtually. So thank you so much, Kim, for taking part in this and being guiding us through a couple of games that we could either do later or do in the coming weeks. And yeah, so and then next year hopefully we'll all gather back at the museum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for asking me, Chris. It was fun to play them again, and it has been a tradition for so long. I think I would have missed it if we didn't do something today.
Yeah. And speaking of volunteers, does your camera operator partner want to say goodbye?
Oh, Heather, do you want to turn your camera on and say goodbye? Because Heather has been volunteering at Penny Carnival for 8 years as well.
Yeah.
You may have seen her in the it's facing, there you go. You may have seen her in the blowing bubbles, or what else have you done? Oh, she's done it all. She's done it all.
That's true. She has done it all. All right, well, thanks you too. Just one comment on Facebook. Morgan says, those are really cool games. I'll have to try them with my nieces. So
Great. Yeah, fun for a birthday party or any kind of gathering.
yeah, totally. All right, well, thanks everyone. We're gonna stop the live stream and stop the recording.